Greetings, friends. If you clicked on this video, chances are you already have some XRP in your portfolio, or you're keeping a close eye on it, trying to figure out if the juice is worth the squeeze. Let's be honest. Few cryptocurrencies have sparked as much debate, as much hope, and as much disappointment as Ripple's XRP. Think back to July 2025, that historic moment when the coin surged to $3.65. Social media was exploding, influencers were screaming that tomorrow we'd be flying to $10, $20, or even $100. And what do we have now? We are in the spring of 2026, and XRP is trading in the $1.30 to $1.40 range, a drop of over 60% from its all-time high. People are panicking. The comments are once again full of talk about a dead coin, about how the developers are just dumping their bags and how there will be no more growth. But is that really true? Or are we in that exact accumulation zone that will be legendary in a couple of years? Today, we are going to do the most comprehensive, objective, and sober analysis of what XRP will actually be worth at the end of 2026 and in 2030. We are throwing away the wet dreams of XRP at $10,000 a coin and looking at the real numbers. I've prepared 3 detailed scenarios for you: bearish, baseline, and bullish. We will break down the macroeconomics, the aftermath of the lawsuits, bank adoption, and crowd psychology. Make yourself comfortable, grab some tea or coffee. This is going to be a deep dive. And don't forget to hit that like button and advance it. Really helps the algorithm. Let's go. Before we make predictions, we need to clearly establish where we are right now in 2026, because the landscape has changed dramatically. The main event that hung over this coin like the sword of Damocles for years was the lawsuit with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC. 5 years of nerve-wracking suspense, 5 years of investors guessing whether XRP would be deemed a security or not. And finally, in August 2025, we got the final resolution. Lawsuits and appeals were withdrawn. Ripple paid a $125 million fine, which is just a drop in the ocean for a company of that size. But the most important part? The court officially confirmed that XRP sales on the secondary market, meaning on exchanges, to everyday people are not securities transactions. The coin gained a unique status in the US. Essentially, XRP became the only cryptocurrency, besides Bitcoin, to have absolute legal clarity in the American market. But then, why did the price drop from 3.65 down to 1.35? It's simple, the good old market rule applies. Buy the rumor, sell the news. As soon as the legal saga ended, major players took their profits. On top of that, the macroeconomic backdrop shifted. The US got a new administration. A new SEC chair came in, Paul Atkins, a pro-crypto figure. The first spot XRP ETFs hit the market. Yes, you heard that right. Wall Street institutions are now officially buying up XRP through funds. And while everyday traders are panic selling their assets during the dip, funds like ProShares and CoinShares are quietly accumulating hundreds of millions of tokens. Smart money is scooping up your supply right now. Keep that thought in mind as we move on to the forecasts. So, our investment horizon is the end of 2026. What awaits us? Let's break down 3 scenarios. Scenario 1. Bearish. Blood on the streets. Yes, we're starting with the negative, because a true investor must always calculate the risks. In a bearish scenario, the price of XRP could drop to a range of 40 to 80 cents by the end of 2026. How is this possible? Easily. Imagine the macroeconomy stumbles. Inflation in the US and Europe rears its ugly head again. The Federal Reserve decides not to cut interest rates, but instead keeps them high or even raises them. When rates are high, big capital flees risk assets like crypto and stocks for the safety of government bonds. Market liquidity dries up. The second condition for a bearish scenario is the failure of Ripple's integrations. Imagine banks testing RippleNet, looking at on-demand liquidity where XRP is used for cross-border transfer and saying, you know what, we'd rather create our own internal central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and use those. We don't need an independent intermediary token. In that case, trading volumes plummet. Inflows into XRP ETFs dry up as institutional interest cools. Retail investors completely lose faith and capitulate. The price slowly slides down, causing holders to feel pain and despair. It's a harsh but very real scenario if the global market enters a prolonged crisis. Scenario 2. Baseline. Healthy growth. This is the scenario most analysts and major banks lean toward, including data aggregators and research centers. In the baseline scenario, the price of XRP at the end of 2026 will be between $2.50 and $4, meaning we are talking about a return to the all-time highs of 2025 and an attempt to consolidate slightly above them. What needs to happen for this? Nothing extraordinary. It's enough for the situation to just continue developing as it is right now. First, macroeconomics remain stable. Inflation is under control. The Fed slowly cuts rates, and money gradually flows back into crypto. Second, XRP ETFs continue to gain momentum. Financial advisors in the US start recommending their clients add 1 to 2% of XRP to their portfolios for diversification. This constant demand slowly but surely drains liquidity from the exchanges. Third, Ripple continues to secure partnerships in Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. Liquidity corridors are working, and the real-world utility of the token grows. Also, don't forget about cycles. Historically, XRP loves to consolidate in a narrow range for a long time, only to shoot up in a matter of weeks. In the baseline scenario, we are looking at the steady, organic development of the project as a technological bridge for fiat money. Scenario 3. Bullish. Rocket to the moon. Now, let's talk about what you've really been waiting for. What if the stars align perfectly? In a bullish scenario, by the end of 2026, we could see XRP priced between $8 and $11. And some bold analysts, basing their predictions on mathematical models of past cycles, point to a potential of $42. Where do these numbers come from? Let's look at the analytics from Standard Chartered, who initially predicted $8 and technical experts like Egrag Crypto. For XRP to go to space, we need a perfect storm. Number 1. Global money printing. Central banks around the world start injecting trillions to save economies or support markets. Cheap money floods into crypto. Number 2. God-tier institutional adoption. Clearing giants on the level of the DTCC officially integrate the XRP ledger for settlements. The daily volume of transactions passing through the network grows from millions to hundreds of billions of dollars. Number 3. A revolution in derivatives markets. Coinbase and other platforms launch global futures contracts with massive leverage, and banks start using XRP to provide real-time liquidity. Number 4. Technical patterns. If you look at the XRP charts from 2014, 2017, and 2021, the coin forms macro triangles. Once it breaks multi-year resistance, the price historically surges by thousands of % in a matter of months. The breakout of the late 2024 resistance has already happened, and if the fractal plays out completely, the flight to double digits is just a matter of liquidity. Is this realistic? Yes. Will it be easy? No. But in the crypto world, nothing is impossible, and we've seen that firsthand with Bitcoin. 2026 is the medium term. But let's look further ahead, 2030. By this point, the world will have changed drastically. Fiat money as we know it today will be digitized. Every major country will launch its own CBDC central bank digital currency. This is where the main battle for XRP begins. Will it be able to become the connecting link, that neutral bridge between the digital dollar, the digital euro, the yuan, and the rupee? Let's move on to the 2030 scenarios. Scenario 1. Bearish 2030. Obsolete technology. Price. Under $1, down to 50 cents. Yes, my friends, the crypto world is ruthless. Technology evolves at a breakneck pace. If by 2030 new, faster, cheaper, and more institutionally accepted Layer 0 or Layer 1 blockchains emerge, the XRP ledger might simply become obsolete. Imagine this. BRICS creates its own unified system for international settlements, while Europe and the US integrate internal, closed blockchains without public tokens. In this world, RippleNet becomes a niche product for small transfers somewhere in Africa or Oceania. The XRP token loses its significance, its volumes plummet, and it turns into a dinosaur of the crypto market. It won't die completely, but investing in it hoping for massive multipliers will be pointless. Scenario 2. Baseline 2030. The new standard. Price $8 to $15. In this scenario, Ripple doesn't take over the entire world or overthrow the dollar. Let's leave those fairy tales behind. But the company successfully takes a huge bite out of the SWIFT system's pie. Every day, trillions of dollars pass through SWIFT. For this system to work, banks hold massive amounts of funds in Nostro and Loro accounts around the world. This is frozen, idle money. XRP solves this problem through on-demand liquidity technology. In the baseline scenario, by 2030, about 5 to 10% of all cross-border transfers go through the XRP network. The token becomes a benchmark asset, a boring but reliable blue chip, much like Apple or Microsoft stock. Volatility decreases. You won't see price jumps of 100% in a single day, but you will see steady growth backed by fundamental demand reaching $10 to $15. At current prices, that's a solid 10x return on capital, which any rational investor would gladly take. Scenario 3. Bullish 2030, the global reserve bridge coin. Price $25 to $30 and beyond. This is where the ultimate dream of Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and the entire XRP army comes true. By 2030, we see a world where fragmented national digital currencies, CBDCs, cannot efficiently interact with each other directly due to geopolitical friction. They need an independent, apolitical bridge, and XRP becomes that bridge. The largest market makers, oil companies, and transnational corporations start clearing through the XRP ledger. Tens of thousands of banks are connected to the system. Daily trading volume is measured in the trillions, with a capped supply of 100 billion tokens, some of which have been burned as fees, and some locked-in investor vaults. A mathematical liquidity deficit occurs. To transfer trillions of dollars daily, the price of a single token physically cannot remain at $1. There simply wouldn't be enough value throughput in the network. The price is forced to rise to $25, $30, and in peak emergency values even higher, just to provide enough liquidity for global financial flow. Analysts at major investment houses use exactly these models for their maximum scenarios for the next decade. Well, the numbers sound beautiful, don't they? But let's come back down to earth. I want to talk to you about the most important thing: market psychology. Every day, videos pop up on the internet with loud titles. Tomorrow 10RP will hit $500. Shock. The secret plan of the world government. Listen to me carefully. This is clickbait. The people making these predictions are just playing on your greed. The market cap of XRP at $500 would exceed the entire global economy. We need to be realists. XRP has immense potential. It is one of the few projects with real-world utility, banking partnerships, and total legal clarity after defeating the SEC. But this asset requires nerves of steel. Do you know how most people lose money? They buy at the top like in the summer of 2025 when XRP broke $3 and then, seeing the dip to just over $1, they panic sell at a loss. Then, when the asset starts climbing back to $5, they buy it again. That is a road to nowhere. If you believe in the baseline or bullish scenarios, your strategy should be boring. It's called DCA dollar cost averaging. Buy in steps, in small portions, once a week or once a month, regardless of whether the coin is at 1.3, 80 cents, or 1.5. This way, you get a comfortable average purchase price. And most importantly, take profits. Never marry your investments. No matter how great the Ripple project is, your job is to take money out of the market. If XRP reaches $4 or $5 in 2026, sell at least 20 to 30% of your position. Keep some free tokens to hold until 2030 and sleep peacefully. Don't listen to influencers who tell you to hold for dear life. The large funds that are buying ETFs right now will be dumping their bags on the people waiting for $1 XRP. Be smarter, be more cunning than the crowd. Let's summarize. We are at an incredibly interesting point in history. 2026 could be the year of the institutional breakthrough for XRP, when the fruits of the legal victory and the launch of ETFs finally reflect on the chart. A target of $3 to $5 looks absolutely achievable within an adequate market cycle. And looking ahead to 2030, with a successful capture of the remittance market, we could see numbers anywhere from $10 to $30 per coin. But remember, cryptocurrency is always a risk. There are no guarantees in this world. Analyze your own finances and never invest your last dollar or borrowed money. Friends, thank you so much for watching this breakdown to the end. I'm really curious to know your thoughts. Which scenario do you think will play out? Bearish, baseline, or bullish? And what price are you personally expecting for XRP by the end of this year? Drop your number in the comments. I'll make sure to read them and reply to the most interesting ones. If you found this no rose-tinted glasses format useful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. It gives me the motivation to keep making high-quality content. This was Altcoin Insider. Protect your deposits, trade with a cool head, and I'll see you in the next video.